Hello and welcome to It's Alive Alive Presents Real Monsters, a Patreon exclusive true crime and paranormal podcast brought to you by me, Dr. Smokenstein, and my gorgeous co-host Amy Rose. Each week we'll bring you the real stories that inspire our favourite horror movies and killers. This week we're going to look at the paranormal since we are talking Exorcist on the main show. So we're going to look at some real life possessions and exorcisms. Mm-hmm. Every now and again you might hear Amy go, "Ooh, is that this person?" That's because the Golden Globes are on at the moment and as we record, and she is watching the pre-show on mute while we record. So oh God, who do you hope wins? Obviously you're shouting for the Irish.
Oh well, obviously.
Who would you prefer to see win, Cillian Murphy or Barry Keoghan? I think Cillian Murphy's put in the time.
I haven't seen Oppenheimer, but I saw Saltburn. And he was really good in Saltburn, but like you said, like Cillian Murphy.
Just like, one after another good show, you know. Barry Keoghan's still young, he's got plenty of time. And I assume as soon as he plays the Joker properly, they'll be like, "Give it to him." Yeah. It's like a guaranteed winning role now if you do it properly. Yeah. Oh, and Jared Leto's the only one that's lost out there so far. Did Joaquin Phoenix did win an Oscar for that, didn't he?
For Joker,
yeah.
He had an Oscar in his hand for something in the last few years, so I presume it was the Joker.
I think it was. Hang on, let me have a quick look here. But I'm almost certain he won the Oscar for that, because I remember saying that's two guys to play the Joker, a comic book character, and win an Oscar for it.
I remember, yeah.
But I'm just going to have a quick look here just to confirm. Because I'd say we say a lot of shit in this on these shows that we have absolutely no idea about. We're like, yeah, that's true.
Fact checker.
Cultural impact sequels. Where's the awards section here? Reception, box office, critical reception. I assume it'll be in here somewhere, right? No. Industry response, accolades. So, accolades. At the 92nd Academy Awards, the film won Best Actor, Phoenix, and Best Original Score. Oh. Yeah, I suppose it had good music in it, didn't it? It was kind of...
Well, he's coming down the steps, obviously.
No,
when
he's coming down the steps, what music is playing?
In my head, it's classical music. I could have that wrong, though.
I don't know why, but I have that Gary Glitter song stuck in my head from Happy Gilmore.
Wait, see, what's happening to me at the moment is I'm picturing him coming down the steps.
Hey!
I can see him move all gracefully, but then he morphs into Tom Hanks in Philadelphia, and all I can hear is the opera music.
Hang on, I'm going to check this too. This should be easy to check. Hold on. And I don't think we'll get in trouble if it's playing in the background for like 2 seconds. Plus, who's going to sue us? Gary Glitter if it is him? Fucking.
Just sing really loud over
it. Joker steps scene. Okay. Let's have a look here. We turn this shit up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is it playing on the headphone?
Yeah.
So they won't hear it. So I was right.
You were right.
He used the Gary Glitter song.
Yeah,
no,
I know. Wrong.
I know that as far as I know, and I'm not going to fact checking this, but as far as I know, Gary Glitter doesn't own the rights to his own music anymore.
Is that because he's a dirty fucking...
I think he sold them off.
Yeah.
You know, the way the Beatles did and fucking shit like that. Mm. So I think that's why that song is still used so regularly. Because I love that fucking song. I do. I know he's a dirty piece, because I love fucking Happy Gilmore. And that song's in it. It just reminds me of Happy Gilmore instantly.
Well, I suppose it's that thing you like the song and not the person.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
That's it.
Yeah.
Love the art, not the artist.
Yeah.
You know? But, okay, so outside of all this celebrity bullshit, we are going to look at possessions today.
Yes.
And we kind of covered little bits of this before in the Enfield haunting a couple of months ago.
Yeah, but it wasn't so much possessions there.
It was a point. Well, she was. There was a lot of possession in that case.
But we didn't talk about possessions.
No, but we just talked about the fact that she was possessed. I mean, there was no exorcism there.
No,
no. How did that get solved again? It just kind of fucking went away, didn't it? Just stopped like at some stage.
I would like to say yes.
Huh?
I think so.
I can't remember now. I would
a lot of
we looked into it so much.
We do it, but that was what I was about to say, because we do a different one every week sometimes.
But
I need to go back
I
and
know
look at
this
what I have.
Enfield story inside out. For some reason, I just can't think of the ending. I'm pretty sure it was just a case of it just fizzled out over time.
Yeah.
Because I
No,
do
they moved
remember.
away. Do you remember she went back to the house and then she said that the lights were like flicking on
Yeah,
and off
but that
and
was
things
way
like that.
after.
I know
Her
that was
mother
way
lived
after.
there-
but
her mother
they-
lived in the house until she died. Like,
Oh.
and she said that like they'd go back to the house, all right, and that you'd feel something in there, and you'd feel like there was something watching you, but there wasn't. There was no more activity, and that the mother still kind of talked it on and off herself, like, or feel like it was there. And at one point, I think I remember somewhere the mother starting to say it felt like she was being protected by it at one stage as well. That maybe it got used to her. They learned to live together. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I do know that once the mother died, they never went back. The eldest daughter went back once and said that the lights started flickering
That's
on
the
and off
mother.
and no one was living in there. Yeah. And that freaked her out enough to say she was never going back again.
Well,
But
yeah.
there was possession in that case, is what I mean.
Janet
Janet was possessed by multiple spirits at multiple times, apparently.
Yeah.
Now, I said it to you lately because I was hardcore gun-ho on that episode that I fucking believed that story 100%. And then we started covering The fucking Exorcist. And I looked at you, I was like, what year did The Exorcist come out? And I was like, balls. These kids saw The fucking Exorcist.
Yeah.
So there's that. Oh, I'm not saying I still don't believe, because there was a lot of really weird shit happening there, and the voices are really, but the voice she puts on is very kind of close to the way Regan
would have
speaks
spoken.
in the movie, and you know, or Pazuzu would speak in the movie.
Yeah.
So that kind of did you know, I remember like when we watched The Exorcist again lately, thinking she sounds a lot like Janet there, and thinking, shit, have I been duped? You know? But I don't know. It's I suppose we'll never really know in those cases. You know? But it was the most. I mean, you still have the case of like a policewoman saying, "I watched a fucking chair move across the room in that house." You have a reporter for the BBC saying, "I watched a chair get thrown across a fucking room without anybody touching it." You know, you have all these grown adults saying, "I saw this, I saw that." I mean, you the reporters for was it the Sun or the News or something saying like there was marbles flying and Lego flying around the fucking room. So I mean, there's a lot of things there, and you know, neighbors saying they heard the knocking, they came over independently and witnessed the knocking. Like, you know, there's a lot of witnesses to
The
this.
knocking creeps me out.
The lollipop lady who said she could see Janet floating over the window, you know, from outside. I mean, there's no, again, people could say that's just almost what's the word, mass hysteria, where the rumor gets around. So maybe the lollipop lady looks up, sees something in a glance of an eye, and is like, oh, she was floating there. You know, so there could be that, but I don't know. And I did say, like, when it came to the news reporter, that I had remembered seeing an older documentary from years ago that was done closer to the time, where he was claiming that it was possible that one of the kids was throwing the marble. And then the most recent documentary from Apple, he was very insistent on it was absolutely impossible that anybody could have thrown it, because they would have had to have swung their arm to get the force that they needed. And he would have seen them swinging their arm because he was taking photographs and looking at the entire room, like, you know. Again, we'll never know. It's just look at the evidence and make up your own mind.
Exactly.
But anyway, you got some cool possession stories for us today, don't you?
I do.
So do you want to kick off at one? And
did you know that apparently there's a trained exorcist priest in every diocese?
Yeah?
Yeah.
I thought these days it's pretty much
not according to the articles that I was looking at.
Unless there's been a bit of a reignitement with it, you know.
No,
I know
because
that
there's none reported in recent years in Ireland, is what I was looking at. But then they had the International Association of Exorcists was formed in 2014. And then Pope Francis kind of like greenlit them. They're like, yeah, you're cool guys. And they have this whole status and all behind them now from the Vatican.
Okay. Did you have you looked up how many exorcisms there are in a year, roughly?
Oh, I saw this and I think it was kind of like low. But I think this.
I
is
would
like
assume
all over.
Catholic exorcisms are rare, but I would say exorcisms in general from other faiths in maybe lesser developed countries would have a higher rate of this stuff. Like, you know, I think maybe if you go into some of them, you know, the countries that finish in stands and stuff like that, I think this might be a bit more of a common practice in their religions. You know, in the more Places the internet haven't reached yet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The poor areas.
Yeah.
It's just, I think, and maybe even African countries where the Christianity side of it is so fucking heavy. Do you know, where they're still in the kind of phase of Christianity of we believe every word of the fucking Bible. Like the born again Christians here.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know for a fact the born again Christians are at it. I mean, I've been told, I told you I worked with born again Christians. Like,
and he seen one?
But he was telling me about they were both telling me. One of them believed in it. The other one thought it was bullshit to his fucking favour.
Yeah.
He said that when he saw it, he told him to cop the fuck onto himself. and get up and stop acting the fool.
Yeah.
But talking in tongues. Do you know, you see the shit where the preacher will touch their head or something like that, and their eyes will roll back in their head, and they'll start and all this shit. He said he's witnessed that both are falling to the ground in convulsions and all that kind of shit. He said he's seen all that in the day, and be devil get out and all this kind of shit. And, oh, praise the Lord! I feel the light. All this kind of bullshit,
Yeah.
But so I would assume those guys.
I'd say
will be at it fairly often.
Yeah, now that you say,
because the other one, the one that was a hardcore believer in all these fucking convulsions and speaking in tongues bullshit, one day, these are two guys I worked with, and one day I was curious. I wanted to kind of fucking test how far you go, because I tested the other guy, the guy that didn't believe it, and he always had a fair answer for my questions, you know?
Yeah.
And I bought him, I was like, so, I won't say his name.
I know
we call him Bob. I was like, hey Bob. I was like, you got a couple of kids, yeah? And I was like, so a part of your religion is obviously, homosexuality is an absolute no-no. What happens if one of your kids comes to you tomorrow and is like, Dad, I am gay. What do you do? And he's like, we'd basically do the whole fucking conversion therapy thing. Like, I'd take him to church and we'd fucking beat it out of him if we have to. But it was like a case of, if I said, well, if he was insistent, it was like, this is me, this is who I am. This is it. It ain't going to change. He was like, he'd be no son of mine. Out the door. Gone.
Is this the guy, the younger guy that I'm thinking of? Or is it one of the other guy that I'm thinking of? Or are they the same people in my head?
It's the one that's from the south of the border.
Okay, that's fine. Because I was thinking that the other one, I couldn't see him like that.
No, when I asked him, it was just like a case of, well, I would kind of explain that as part of my religion, it's not something that I approve of, but at the same time, live and let live kind of fucking was his attitude,
Yeah.
But, he wouldn't be happy about it, but he wouldn't.
It seems more welcoming.
Yeah, he wouldn't be kicking his son out of home for it,
Yeah.
Whereas the other guy was hardcore, was like, you go, that's it. And it's the same, the guy from up the north, when I asked him about the money situation when it comes to those born-again Christian stuff, he was like, you're expected to give, I can't remember what it was it 15% of your wages every week or 20% of your wages every week, something along those lines. And he turned to me and he said, I told them I'll give them what I can fucking afford.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm not working my ass off all week, or if I'm on the dole, fucking be giving that much to them, or if I'm working my ass off all week, giving that much to them, I got bills and stuff to pay first. I'll give what I can.
Yeah.
I asked the guy from our neck of the woods about it, and he was like, no, I always give the right amount every time. He was like, why wouldn't I? That's money that I'm working for to give to God, It's like, you're fucking delusional.
That sounds brainwashing.
But come here.
Yeah.
Righteous gemstones all fucking over the place. And that's what it is, They're fucking busting their ass so top preachers can fucking live the high life.
Fucking you.
Fucking bankrolling baby Billy's. What was his
Baby
TV
Bobby?
show?
Baby Bob? What?
Baby,
what was
his Baby Billy's game show? Baby Billy's Bible Bunkers or something like that.
I like him.
Guys like my mate Bob, not the Bob. Actually, I shouldn't have said Bob.
I was thinking that was a bad name because now everybody's going to think that Bob is a bit crazy.
That Bob is the most fucking
but as in
antichrist fucking thing that's ever walked here. He is the complete opposite to Jesus Christ. He might have the haircut and the beard, but he is the anti. I'm pretty sure if you move that Bob, if that Bob cuts his hair, there's a 666 on that scalp somewhere. Love you, Bob. It's not that Bob, but anyway, I would believe that, like, he will go full on. I think even with the gay, if he had a gay kid, it would be full on, like, you know, there's a demon in him, exorcise the demon kind of fucking thing. I reckon that's what that gay conversions therapy is anyway, isn't it?
I don't know.
You have these evil things inside you, Satan
Is
put
it?
that
Is
in
it
you.
like
And,
exorcisms?
well, I think the idea is to pray the gay away, isn't it? So the idea is that there's the devil has put this evil inside you and you need to exercise it from your body by praying and, you know, doing all this super religious shit for fucking however long in this conversion therapy place. I don't know a whole lot about it. I've only ever seen conversion therapy places on comedies on TV. My
There's
favourite
a
being
movie
Butters
about
when he
it,
went to conversion therapy.
Oh, do you know the girl that was in Orange is the New Black?
Which one? Fucking, it's a movie. It's a show about a girl's prison.
Right. With the curly hair. And I was only on about her in the last few weeks. Oh, Fred Armisen, right? If I got his name first, I'd have been able to get her. What's her fucking name?
You would have, if you had said you're one that was from in American Pie and Orange is the New Black.
I never think of American Pie. I always think of the slums of Beverly Hills.
It's a hard name. I only actually just saw her on the red carpet there a few minutes ago.
Oh, the name
and
would have
she
come
is
to me if I'd
nominated
seen
for
her.
something.
Oh, do not give me her name.
Orange is...
Like the first initial.
She is with Fred Armisen.
Yeah.
She married Fred Armisen.
I don't know.
Where is she? Where are you? Oh, fucking head. Oh, yeah. What you want? I'll give you her name in Orange is the New Black.
I don't think that'll help. But
Oh, no.
Try it.
Nikki.
No. No. Give me the first.
NL. It's her initials.
That's going to piss me right off because as soon as you say it, I'm going to know it. Oh, Natasha Leon!
I was just about to say
Got
it to you. Anyway, fucking, what were we talking about? Fucking exorcisms, how common they are. Did you look up and see how many?
No. So that's what I was on about her. So the only thing that I've ever seen about like gay conversion, she was in a movie called It's Okay, I'm a Cheerleader, where she's like sent to a conversion camp.
Okay.
But like, yeah.
Have you seen that movie, no?
Yeah, that's what I said. I saw it.
You just told me you didn't. I literally were off air for like 2 seconds, and I was like, "Oh, do you want to say more about that movie?" No, I haven't seen that movie. Okay,
no,
I'll lead in here.
I said
so,
no. I've said it about that movie. That's not what I said.
Good.
You are not listening to me. You're watching my mouth move, but you are not listening to me. I said I saw the movie. That's all I know about gay conversion therapy. Is that movie. Holy shit!
Miscommunication.
To say the fucking least.
So what happens during that? Is it like a heavy movie?
It doesn't work. It's
no shit.
and she gets it. One of the other girls in there.
But what do they do? Is it just like a fucking?
I'll be honest. I can vaguely remember that movie, but I'm pretty sure that it's the type of movie that what went on in the gay conversion camp there probably doesn't go on in gay conversion camps here. As in, it was more of a comedy kind of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. What if there? I assume there's some sort of gay conversion camp here, or not? I wouldn't call them camps. I'd say they're like courses within the church, like, you know.
Oh yeah, but in the movie it was
because usually their churches, I mean, when it comes to like the born again Christians, are usually like a fucking hall somewhere or a room somewhere, or, you know, it's not like a big grand church like the Catholics have or the Protestants have or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on. What do we're on possessions? So how did you look up how many possessions a year there are roughly? Or?
Can't get any proper numbers. I was looking up. Not
possessions, but exorcisms.
Oh, exorcisms. Yeah, I can't get many proper numbers. I'm pretty sure it was possessions, exorcisms that I looked up rather. Yeah. But you get things back like, has an exorcism ever been filmed? And I don't want to know that. I want to know.
Oh yeah, there is definitely.
Well, I know that, but Google is
Russia. I think it's a big thing. I think there's a lot of Russian exorcism videos out there.
Yeah. Okay. There's one person that says that he gets about 2,000 requests for exorcisms per year.
And how many does he do?
He estimates that about 10% of these requests are worthy to be investigated. So that's about 20. No, that's wrong. 2,000 was 10% of 2,000. 200 are worthy to be investigated. And then I suppose after that, you're whittling down to, right, she's crazy, she's faking. And then, okay, well, maybe you got a proper case here.
Okay.
But there's like a checklist as well of like, like there's certain things that they have to be hitting. And then in 1999, actually, I think it was in 1999. Yeah, it was the first time since 1614 in 1999 that the Vatican said we're going to have to look at like what constitutes as being possessed now.
Yeah, because obviously science would have caught up.
Exactly.
Understand more
exactly.
And more.
So it was written in that, like, you know, that, like, you know, a lot of these cases they have to recognize are down to like modern medical.
Because that's a big thing in the Robbie Mannheim story. The one that
the devil made me do it.
No, the Robbie Mannheim. Do you remember the Robbie
Mannheim?
Ronald Doe. The one that the Exorcist is actually based on.
Yeah, yeah.
And that killed me when we were doing it's in the main script of the main show. I made the mistake of doing the Robbie Mannheim story at the start, a little bit of it. And I make a joke out of it in the script so that we could just use it anyway. But I had to cut out a big chunk of it because I was like, this is pretty much the story I'm about to fucking tell. I can't tell it twice. And it is very close. But they were saying like that if you looked at the medical side of things. No, I don't know how you explain the people saying they saw stuff flying around rooms. And the beds shaking and stuff like that. But
Agna?
They were saying, like, you know, like in The Exorcist, where on Regan's body it'll come up, help me, across her, you know, like written kind of like in a scar, and it just appeared on its own. But they were saying the same thing happened with him, but then they said they never checked his fingernails to see had he done it to himself. They just came in and there was something scratched across his stomach, like, you know.
But that's it. I know my dad, I know other people can do it, but my dad's able to do that. You know, like not break his skin, but like turn it over onto his side. And every time he does it, he's able to like right into his tummy and it'll be there for a while. Yeah, it comes up red, but it's not, he's not scratching, he's turning his thumb to the side and he's using that side, so he's not breaking his skin. Like. Yeah, and it happens to a lot of people. There's some kind of medical reason behind it. It's not bad or anything like that, but there is that there, and I'm just letting you know.
But yeah, a lot, and they were saying that the Latin he was speaking didn't sound like anything. It didn't make any sense. So it was likely that he was just regurgitating the words he had heard from the other priests back at him, like, you know. Because I know that is it really like what they said in The Exorcist about, like, you know, what they have to do to prove that this is a true possession case. So, I mean, I know
like literally there has to be, there's a certain checklist of like, well, is the person doing this?
That the child shouldn't have abilities the child shouldn't have. You know, obviously, like in The Exorcist, it was Regan speaking backwards. It was Regan speaking in different voices. It was Regan, you know, fucking knowing stuff that she shouldn't have fucking known. Exactly. I mean, details about Father Karras's life that she shouldn't fucking know. You know, details of Father Merrin's life she shouldn't have known. Being able to take off fucking Burke's voice perfectly after she killed them, you know, when she turns the head for the first time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I assume it's all the same in real life. That's what they're looking for, is it?
Mostly. Yeah. As in, like, the two that I think in Annalise Michael, is that the way you pronounce her last name? The Emily, the Exorcism of Emily Rose one. That's based on. I think she did talk other languages, but I think she was in college, like. Do you know, so she might have But
would they not be able to clear that up fairly quick?
There's a lot about that that's like, really dodgy, because she was also like, you know, she was very sick mentally as well before they ever thought that she was possessed.
So hang on, so you're going to tell us that story now, yeah?
No, I'm going to tell you about an old one first.
Okay, cool.
So this is before like even the Salem witch trials in Massachusetts.
Okay. Go for it.
So Elizabeth Knapp. So this is like 1661 to 1662 in Groton, Massachusetts. That's in Massachusetts. That was Massachusetts Bay Colony at the time. So it would be the same area as Salem. Okay. But Salem would have been about 20 years afterwards, I think. Yeah. So it was, you had like this like overwhelming, like strict religious atmosphere, and it was predominantly Puritan, and it held like, you know, like views that women had to contribute to. They were at home and they were working away, but they contributed to the manual labor as well of the village. Like, so it was pretty fucking strict. Right. Yeah. So Elizabeth,
these guys would have been kind of like the precursor to the guys who burnt all the witches.
Well, yeah, there's no dancing and all that jazz. Like they're like, do you know the way you see dancing? The Simpsons take the piss out of it, and when they're on the Mayflower going over, and it's all like, oh, can't do this. Oh, I just thought of that.
No, I never saw that.
Have you never seen them on the Mayflower?
No.
Oh my God, you have to see that episode. It's not exactly a standard episode. I've seen the
Marge is a Witch episode, like where Marge and Patty and Selma are the witches.
Yeah.
I must be obviously the
That's a Treehouse of Horrors, but the one I'm thinking of isn't a Treehouse of Horrors.
Oh, I have no idea. I've never seen that one.
I'm going to show you that one.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's the joke,
That's
is
the
that you're not
weirdest
allowed
thing.
to do anything except be miserable and work and go to bed and pray.
This is the first time I found myself in this situation, right?
Where you don't know the Simpsons
episode. We grew up in the 90s where everybody had seen every episode of Simpsons multiple times.
Yeah.
You know, we'd all watched it because that's all you did. You watched The Simpsons. It came on every day. We watched them. So everyone had seen every. You looked forward to Sunday evening when you got a new episode. You know?
Yeah.
So we all, for years, and then it got bad, and now we don't know the references anymore to the modern ones. But I don't think
modern.
I don't think there's many people fucking referencing the modern ones anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Anyway, go on. So what happened in this spot in Massachusetts?
So Elizabeth she was 16 at the time, and she was the daughter of a farmer, and she was a servant in the house of a Puritan preacher called Samuel Willard. And Willard was known for his sermons about, damnation and obedience to God. So, like, stereotypical shouting from the pulpit.
Well, again, before you explained, like, their lifestyle and all that, as soon as I heard Puritan, I was like, oh, that's going to be terrible. That's going to be no fun for nobody.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He kept a record, like a journal, and he sent letters about Knapp's possession to, like, higher up in his church.
Yeah.
So that's how, like, all that information is there. And I actually went looking. I couldn't find anything on his journals properly, like, handwritten, but I was reading his letters from, like, a few years afterwards. Like, they're all, like, available. But so Elizabeth, she started towards the end of 1671, started complaining that she was having pains in her body, and she'd grab at her arms and at her neck and at her boobs, and she was screaming about, like, strangulation, like, in particular, that there was something constantly strangling her. She went into emotional fits, and that was like hysterical laughing and like weeping, and then that would go into just fucking screaming, like. So that sounds instantly like she was tapped. There was a few mental issues there. Like.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Modern day, we just know that there was a mental health problem.
Oh yeah.
And bring the person to get help.
Exactly.
Proper medication, the proper kind of counselling to sort that problem out. Like.
Oh yeah, but like it kind of goes hand in hand. Like she used to have hallucinations as well, where she would see it was always two people walking around her. But then when she was in bed, there'd be a man floating around her bed. So that sounds like kind of sleep paralysis.
Yeah, or even if there's if she's having hallucinations, I mean, she could have been bipolar or schizophrenic, anything like that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then, like, she'd break out into fits, and they were mostly at nighttime. And then after she'd have the fits, like, she just went into convulsions, like.
See, again, just sounds like a person with a lot of brain problems.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's straight away you got epilepsy there, like. And I think that kind of goes hand in hand with some mental health issues.
Definitely. And I think that should have been very apparent in everybody the night that she tried to throw herself into the fire.
Yeah?
Yeah, like a wide open fire, just like ran headfirst trying to throw herself into it, like, and yeah. Everybody was like, "Oh, better get out the cross." Instead of.
But again, yeah, that time though, you wouldn't. Mental health issues were coming. I mean, Amy, fucking 20 years ago, mental health issues weren't fucking understood properly. So I mean, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, there was no hope.
Yeah, but I mean, I just think that, like, somebody trying to hurt themselves to that extent, like, do you not think that?
Yeah, they just think that at that point that they don't, especially.
I know.
I mean, that's why religion was so hardcore back then as well, because they didn't understand so much that it had to be something magical, like, you know.
Yeah. So after the symptoms started to appear, I think it was on the first Sunday. Because the Sabbath is a Sunday back then, isn't it, or is it Saturday? Either way, it doesn't really make any. After the symptoms started to show, she became violent and she was leaping. This sounds like the Enfield Poltergeist, to be honest. So she started like jumping around and leaping and all that kind of shit. But she was contorting her body to the point where it took 3 or 4 people to actually hold her down, and she was a 16-year-old girl, like.
Yeah, but I remember when I was about Fion's age, which is 6, I hated needles, which is funny now because I'm tattooed all over. But I hated needles back then. And I remember being in hospital and they had to take a blood test. And I'm pretty sure it took about 4 or 5 of them to hold me fucking down to get that blood test.
I just refused point blank.
Oh, I kicked and I screamed and they had to hold me down to get it done. So, I mean...
It's mad how that's changed. I literally have no problem now. I'm like, well, fuck. But, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my phone just went dead. But, but again, I mean, we've been stabbed with needles multiple times for our own enjoyment for tattoos.
Multiple times. So when she was throwing those fits, she would yell out like there'd be things like, one of the phrases that she kept saying was money, money, sin, and misery, misery. Like she'd say that over and over again. And then on the night of the 2nd of November, 1671, Knapp made a confession of meeting with the devil. And so that's characteristic of most possession cases. There's always a meeting with the devil.
Okay.
And she stated that for 3 years, the devil had been meeting her with promising money, youth, and ease from labour and the ability to see the world. So then she claimed that he had presented her with a book of blood covenants, which were signed by other women as well. And it was obviously like, sign here in blood, pure, stereotypical.
Well, yeah. But again, I mean, we say this in the main show as well when we're talking about, the devil, the story behind Satan, and how he came to be where he was. And they say like that's a lot of what he does offer. It was like, when he was offering Eve the apple in the Garden of Eden, it was a case of once you bite into this apple, you'll know what good and evil is, and you'll have the power of God in you, and you know what God knows.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of like the promise is like this power, this, this all this extra, like,
Yeah.
That or he'll make you a world-class famous guitarist if you meet him at a crossroads.
Oh, yeah.
And he'll get your soul back if you beat him in a fiddle fucking playing contest, so... that fiddle, man.
Can you play fiddle?
I've been listening to too much country.
She also said that the devil tried to get her to kill herself and others, and that included Willard and his family, but that she wasn't able to go through with what he was asking her.
So was that part of the condition of getting all this stuff from him?
I think so. That's what it's coming across.
Not just her soul, but the souls of her family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then on November the 28th, she had a fit that lasted more than 48 hours.
What, she was like convulsing for 48 hours? Like?
Yeah. Well, if you were to believe it. I think that if you were convulsing for 48 hours, you'd have probably died after. I mean.
Oh, yeah. Exhaustion, dehydration, fucking.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then after that ended, she was in a catatonic state then until the 8th of December. And then at that time, she made a confession that after being assaulted by the devil at various times, that she had made the pact with him and that she had allowed him to get into her bed.
Okay.
So it kind of gets sexual there. That's another big thing with like the old timey ones, is that they always...
Oh, you sleep with the devil, like.
Yeah. There was one in England. I can't remember the name of your one, but I remember reading about her when I was young in this witchy book that I don't think my parents thought was as bad as it was. But like she was on even about like how like massive the devil's penis was and how it like really, really, really hurt her, but it felt really, really good. And this was like, like I think her name was like Fanny Hopeful or something.
Oh yeah, it was.
I thought that was an example to show you what time.
What we were saying again on the main show, we pointed out Fanny Hope a big devil dong, but he was known to be God's most perfect creation, like physically to look at. He was supposed to be the most beautiful thing God had ever created, like so.
Pretty well endowed.
If you ask Fanny Hopeful, anyway.
That wasn't it. Pretty sure that wasn't her name. It was an example, like to the way like there'd be Goody Thompson. But there was a girl in my year called Fanny.
I can get over that, but Fanny Hopeful, who's talking about
I felt bad for her because people do take the piss out of her. Like,
it's weird to have that name in this country, at least.
In this country, it is. Yeah.
I mean, even in America, it means butt over there, like So I mean, you're either an ass or a vagina, one of the two.
So then, throughout the month of December, she went in and out of violent fits, and then one like kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then she talked in like strange, deep voices and made animal sounds. Apparently, she'd be like barking and mooing and like every fucking farm animal you can think of. Yeah. So it's also during those few weeks that Willard stated that the devil like would talk through her body. That's like a quote from his jar, like talked through her body, and she used to call him a rogue minister.
Oh, the minister. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That felt very Irish to me.
Why a rogue minister?
You're an awful rogue. Huh?
Why a rogue minister? What was he doing that was... Or was he even implying that their religion in total was fucking rogue compared to what it was supposed to be? Being the Puritans and being so harsh and so fucking hard.
She was possessed, like... So
No, I
was
know
just
that,
like,
but you know what?
just angry
If you were
towards
to
him.
believe that the devil was in control there,
Mm.
if you were to believe this was a real case,
Mm.
and go down that path, then him calling the minister a rogue minister when there's so many offshoots to these religions, worse again in their eyes. This is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Would they have had female ministers at this time?
No, you kept calling Elizabeth him.
No, but she was saying the rogue. She was called. Yeah, but I was talking about the devil.
Oh.
I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about the demon
the
inside
devil.
her.
Why would the devil be saying that?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I thought you were saying the minister was
No,
a she there for a second. I was like, hold on.
I'm very confused.
Not very Puritan of them. Okay. I'm progressive over here. I'm all for it.
But you're not allowed to dance. So the journals there, his journals took a break then, and then he started again on the 10th of January 1672 when he met with her again. So I'd say she'd stopped for the safety of his family being his maid.
Okay.
Yeah. So she confessed to him that the devil had control of her body and that he was much more powerful than she was. She also stated that he took hold of her speech and that she had no control over what she was saying. And then the night after that, she went into a fit of hysterical crying and weeping, in which she asked for Willard to come back over to her. Like, now, apparently, all these things got worse with Willard in the room. They also got worse if there was like the bigger the crowd, the bigger the fit, the bigger the
bigger the show. Like,
yeah,
exactly. Bigger the show. Yeah. I'm surprised, considering, as you said, not long after this, they would start strapping women to fucking bonfires or dunking them in water for being witches. That they didn't just see someone that was possessed by the devil and be like, "Yep, kill it."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
And it wasn't just a fucking, death sentence instantly.
Yeah.
You'd have to assume, like in their eyes, once the devil's been in this body, she's unpure forever anyway. There's no way of purifying it anymore, unless they were so fucking much.
With fire, it basically, will burn her and she'll be dead, but she'll be fine because she'll be saved.
So yeah.
So after that night, Willard kind of ended his documentation of the possession cases, and he was saying that he'd leave it to those that were more learned and aged and kind of judicious than him. Kind of all records stop off, not off her, but off the possession case.
Okay.
And then, so like the last thing then that's in his journal, he made points about how valid like the case was. So he said that the symptoms displayed by her at times would be physically impossible. And I think he was getting at what I was saying about people needing to hold her down.
Yeah.
Things like that. Second point was whether her temper was like natural, whether like it was just fits of rage or if it was diabolical, if it was the devil. But he said that because, and like what you pointed out, the length of her convulsions and the strength of her fits, like nobody could go into convulsions for 48 hours and not have anything. That he pointed out it had to be the devil's doing. Like,
yeah. Again, though, you're kind of just going off of one man's testimony of what happened. It's the same with we were talking about the Robbie Mannheim situation, and it was pretty much the exact same. There, you had all this kind of these people saying, "Oh, we saw this, we saw that, we saw this," and then there was just the one guy who was kind of looking clearly, going, "I was there too. This didn't fucking happen that way."
Yeah,
it was like, and the guy who said, I can't remember his name in particular, but he was very diplomatic about it, saying these people just got kind of swept up in the imagination of it, and their imagination ran wild with them because they were expecting to see this stuff, and it was just memories getting kind of caught in the storyline,
yeah,
which I can see happening. And I mean, that was the 40s, so I imagine back in this time where information is going to be passed through gossip, that the stories of what's happening to this woman is probably worse and worse and worse. And what could have been a 48-hour thing could have started this morning. Now, I know he's saying it's 48 hours.
Oh, I know. That could have started.
It could have started as it was a 48 minutes thing, and somebody else picked it up as 48 hours. And now she's, But I'm just going with cases that far back. It's really hard to fucking tell.
Oh, it is. Definitely. Definitely. But the third point then that he made was the devil would talk through her. But he said that there was a lot of people around her that was skeptical that was actually true. But he was like, sure, 100% that the devil was talking through her, because her mouth would be closed, but her throat would swell up like a balloon. So when I was reading that, I had the image of one of those frogs, those toads. Yeah. But that's the way she talked when the devil was talking through her. But I presume even if you could make your throat swell up, it'd be very hard to talk. over
That's
that.
what they said about
What her in Enfield like?
about Janet
Did her
in
throat
Enfield.
swell as well?
I don't know about the swelling, but they said she was using what they're like false vocal cords at the back of your own vocal cords. They're very hard to get into, and you have to almost be trained to do it.
Oh well, it's
And they were claiming that's what she was doing, but apparently doing that short term will give you a sore throat.
Yeah.
And she used to do it for hours on end.
Mm.
So that's where they were saying, like, well, that couldn't be the case. And then there was the claim that at one point, I can't remember his name now, the main guy, the main fella that was investigating it, when he was trying to prove duct taped over her mouth or put his hand over her mouth or something, it made her drink water first and then keep it in her mouth and then sealed her mouth. And then was like, no, talk to us. And she was still talking fucking back clear as day, like, you know. No, they claim she was a very good ventriloquist at one point as well, but that, I think, was debunked.
Yeah.
So, and again, like I said in the other shows, that's the other side of it that would make me believe in the Enfield thing. You see Janet now, and that woman is a shook woman.
Oh, you know, I remember you showing
something has deeply, deeply affected that woman in her life, like, you know.
Definitely.
She's not the same, but yeah, okay, so.
Right, so that's pretty much where Elizabeth ended, but I like those old-time ones. Because, you said, you've got less chance of debunking them.
Oh, yeah. You're really just...
You're left wondering.
Especially Puritans, where the devil was in everything.
Absolutely.
You know?
But the next one now that we'll be on about, my heart literally breaks for this girl, like, absolutely does. But, okay, so, she was born...
She's getting distracted by the Golden Globes.
No, I'm not. I can't. I don't know.
From Succession just once.
Yeah, but was that what Dominic, the category with Dominic West?
Dominic Cooper. Dominic West. Yeah.
Was that his? It must have been.
I don't know. No, that was... Would this be
was supporting.
Actor, I would assume. He's in the one with Brian Cox, who would probably be the lead actor in Succession. I've never seen Succession, so I don't know.
So, but Dominic West isn't. Surely the Queen is
male lead.
I know, but surely the Queen would be... Oh, I get what you're saying.
And
I'm getting really confused because I'm trying to do this and watch this at the same time.
So, yeah.
Okay. Back to Annalise. She was born in 1952 and she died on the 1st of July,
Best supporting actor TV series. That's what he got.
Oh, he's in the Pillars of the Earth. I do know him. Okay. So she was born to a Roman Catholic family. And they were well, not excessively, but they still went to mass twice a week. So they were pretty religious.
It's less than my grandparents went to mass. They'd go every day if they could.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I suppose. But so when she was 16, she experienced a seizure and she was diagnosed with psychosis caused by temporal lobe epilepsy. So she was sick before.
What year would this have been?
So she was 16, so this would have been 1968.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I just said when she was born.
Sorry, I just missed that. We were looking at the fucking...
And now I'm getting distracted, is it? Yeah. So shortly after that, she was diagnosed with depression and was treated but in a psychiatric hospital. And then by the time she was 20, she had become intolerant of various religious objects. Like she went to a pilgrimage with a friend of theirs who was a priest and went to San Damiano. And he said that when she was there, she wasn't able to drink water from this holy well there. And she wasn't able to walk past a crucifix. All these kind of things.
You're not able, she was collapsing or fucking getting sick when she tried to drink water or just
wouldn't. Okay. Yeah. Well, I could see here in the script that I said would not, but when I was writing it, I was like, would not or could not? Yeah. So it was not would walk past it. But she also then started to hear voices basically telling her that she was damned and that she was going to rot in hell.
Okay.
So, yeah. Then she actually also believed that she had stigmata. And her body, after she was buried and after the trial of everything that we'll get into, she was dug back up because she was buried really hastily. And her parents wanted to, put her in a nice coffin and all that. But they were kind of warned that, normal decomposition had taken place and you mightn't want to look. But her mother swears that when they took her back out, she could see the mark of stigmata on her.
So for anyone that doesn't know, the mark of stigmata is basically the holes in the hands and holes in the feet where Jesus was nailed to the cross.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And isn't the one on your side as well?
I would assume so.
Yeah. I think that's part of it.
Scars on the head and all this shit from the crown of thorns and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen the movie though. Good movie. That's the one with...
I've seen it once with Gabriel Byrne.
With is it not the girl in it though? She's
Chase Amy?
She's one of the Arquettes, isn't she?
Oh, she is. Yeah, sorry, I had that completely wrong.
David
That's her.
Arquette's Dewey's sister.
That's true. So, and she also believed that she could talk to the Virgin Mary.
Okay.
So her condition, like, she was medicated, and it started getting worse.
She was chatting to Mary when she asked her how to solve the fucking thing.
Yeah, it seems very Butcher Boy in my head.
Huh? Yeah.
And then she became suicidal, and she's also displaying kind of other symptoms that kind of goes hand in hand with, like, bipolar, but everything that just comes. And she took medication for everything else as well, but nothing worked for her. No. So after taking the meds for 5 years, and when her symptoms failed to improve, her and her family became convinced that she was actually possessed by a devil. Like, she had her family told, "You need to stop with the doctors. This is the route we're going."
Was there any poltergeist activity in that scenario?
No. Not that I've read about.
It was just her, and that's it. There was nothing moving around the room. There was
nothing like that. No. So, as a result, then, her family appealed to the Catholic Church for an exorcism, and that was in 1973. The church, they did look into it, but then they rejected it because it wasn't ticking off things for them, all these things, obviously.
Like I just said, there was nothing flying around the room. There was no new
And she'd just been released from a psychiatric hospital.
Yeah.
So.
You'd have to assume, though, 90% of the cases they were going to look at have probably talked to a psychiatrist or been in a fucking mental home beforehand.
But I wonder, can the priest go to the doctor and say, what is your opinion? And the doctor would say,
I would even assume that if they're going looking to investigate it properly, they'll probably fucking send you for fucking medical tests and to be evaluated by a psychiatrist before they'd say, yeah, okay, this is the last resort. Like, we
definitely. Yeah. But anyway, her condition started getting worse, and she started drinking her own urine, started eating insects, everything yucky. And then she became aggressive and started injuring herself. But she, some of her teeth were broken away. Even, like, if you look at the pictures of her before and after are crazy. Like, she was, like, wasted away. And she used to, like our dog used to, Sammy, she used to chew the walls.
Yeah.
She'd be doing that to the corners, but she broke her front teeth down. Yeah.
Shit. Anytime I think of the dog doing it, it makes me fucking cringe, let alone somebody.
By the time she died, she had 2 broken knees because of constant genuflecting.
Constant what?
Genuflecting. So the way you go up and you like do your little knee bob curtsy before you. Yeah. She did that constantly to the point where she broke her knees.
Fucking hell.
That creeps me out because that just seems in my head like she's doing that really fast over and over and over and over and over and over. No. But and actually, if I was doing a movie about it, I'd probably put that in because it'd be really fucking creepy.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, so then in 1973, she began treatment with Tegretol. It was like a new kind of thing at the time. Not a new kind of thing, but it was a new drug at the time. But it was an anti-seizure drug and a mood stabilizer. And she was prescribed antipsychotic drugs. And then nothing was working. Okay. And then she kept taking them until
so
before
she's
her
taking
death.
The medication properly, but none of the symptoms are going away.
But you see, then she was saying that she didn't want any medical intervention, but she still kept taking them up until her death.
And she's doing stuff that is physically harming her and continuing to do it anyway. Because obviously your body's natural reaction when something starts hurting. That's the idea of pain.
Yeah.
You feel pain, so you stop doing what it is you're doing. It's your body warning you this thing is going to harm you.
Yeah.
That's the idea of pain. It's a warning system.
Exactly.
You hurt something badly, it's like your check engine coming on. That's what pain is. It's like you're fucking hurt somewhere. Something's wrong. Go fix it.
Yeah. But obviously, even if you're getting worse on it, you think that at the very least they might stabilize it and she might be still the same but not get any worse. But she started growling at everybody. Like, her temperament towards other people started getting worse and worse and worse.
What would happen? Does it say, was she sedated, and what would happen when she was sedated? Did that work? Were they able to, or was it just all medication, or just the medication they were prescribing to try and solve these issues?
It was just the medication that they were prescribed. But they never said anything about sedation, but it was just these antipsychotic medications, the antidepressant, everything that she was on to actually treat it, not to sedate her.
But
nothing.
But some of those, most of those medications would knock you. Especially
back then. But do you mean sedate, as in put her down?
No, I know that too. Okay. But when you're saying they don't do that, but if she's getting the medication, surely some of the side effects as well would be kicking in and knocking her down a bit. It's no fucking secret herself. There was a period of time around maybe the start of COVID where I had a bit of a fucking hard time. The doctor gave me medication to take, and that shit just put me to fucking sleep. Do you know?
Yeah.
So It's one of the reasons I wouldn't like taking that stuff. But I'm just wondering, was there any effect at all, or was it just like she'd taken fucking a packet of Skittles?
Don't know. All that I could find was that it said it didn't work for her.
Okay.
Do you know? So then their family priest, Father Ernst Alt, so that was the guy that went to San Damiano with her. He went to see her and he was looking at her and she was like, he literally said she didn't look like she was epileptic. Because, yeah, I mean, like, that's a fucking stupid statement if I've ever fucking heard one.
He just looked at her.
He just looked at her. I was like, you don't look epileptic. Yeah, there has to be something else. And that he didn't actually observe her having any seizures.
Okay.
You know? So he believed that she was suffering from demonic possession as well and urged the local bishop to allow an exorcism. And then eventually he was allowed. It was him and another priest. But actually before he petitioned the bishop, Michael wrote, or Annalise wrote to him that she said, quote, "I am nothing. Everything about me is vanity. What should I do? I have to improve. Pray for me." And then she said, things like, "I want to suffer for other people" and shit like that. Like it was just so fucked up. Like,
so that's like what, trying to be a martyr a bit, maybe?
Be Christ-like.
Yeah, Jesus, who died for your sins, kind of fucking thing.
Yeah, exactly. So in September 1975, the bishop granted Father Arnold Renz permission to perform an exorcism according to the Ritual Romanum. So that's like the oldest exorcism, right? So he did it along with Father Ernst Alt.
Oh, so different types of exorcisms.
Yeah, it's like really like hardcore kind of seasoned exorcists. Is that how yeah. Would use this ritual romanum. It usually starts off with, like, the Lord's Prayer. There's the Athanasian is a creed. I was looking up that one today. It's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's fucking, the words are old and it's creepy when you think about it. Being used in that. But then these guys start off with that one, then the ritual romanum. But there's like complete secrecy around that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't know shit about this one.
We don't.
One of their top level.
Yeah. Because usually when it's used,
if this was Scientology, this would be Xenu.
Yeah, and usually when it's used, it's in cases where, like, the bishop and the clergy have said you cannot talk about this exorcism. You know? Yeah. And that's what happened here. But then shit went bad.
So this is basically when they 100% believe this is a legit case.
Oh, yeah.
This is, we got to bring out the big guns. Yeah. Like,
I'll put it to you like this. The girl went through 67 exorcism sessions.
Holy shit.
But we'll get into it a time more.
Okay.
Yeah. So Renz performed the first session on the 24th of September. Annalise began speaking more about wanting to die to atone for the wayward youth of the day and the apostate priests of the modern church.
See, do you know what's crazy? It sounds to me more like she's fucking possessed by Christian spirits rather than the devil. Mm-hmm. Because she's seeing Mary, she's going on about fucking sacrificing herself for the sins of others. Mm-hmm. I mean, that doesn't really sound like what the devil would be saying. It sounds more like what Jesus would be saying.
I know.
Do you know?
But it was still, she was seen as it was demonic possession. I know. So, again, this is about the time that the parents stopped consulting altogether. There was no medical, this is where it just completely stopped. Like, they had been cutting them out, but there was nothing from this point on for about a year. Yeah, there was no medical intervention. She did keep taking some of the tablets, though.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So they relied solely on the rites. And then, so there was like one or two each week, lasting up to about 4 hours each. And they were performed over approximately 10 months in between 1975 and 1976. And then towards the end of her life, she started to refuse food, drink, and everything like. And then on the 1st of July 1976, she died. So the autopsy report stated that the cause of death was malnutrition and dehydration.
So she starved herself?
Starved herself to death, yeah. She weighed 30 kilograms, said she had the broken knees. When she died, she wasn't able to even move. She needed somebody to move her. And she had pneumonia.
See, I mean, like, even if it's mental health, that's a very severe case. Because, again, your natural instinct is going to kick in and stop you from doing these things. To a degree, you're going to do stuff. But to that degree, that's almost torturing you. Well, it's not almost. That is torturing yourself, like, you know?
Absolutely.
Kerry Van Erich just won the best support. Our best actor. in a
Best supporting,
TV.
isn't it? Or
Best
is it
actor on
actor?
TV. He's the lead.
Ah,
That's Lip from Shameless. I can't remember his real name. Jeremy something or other.
fair play.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Annalise's parents and the two priests, they were found guilty of negligent homicide and were sentenced to 6 months in jail, which was reduced to 3 years of probation as well as a fine. After an investigation, the state prosecutor maintained that Annalise's death could have been prevented as late as 1 week before her death. And then the state Joran, I think, thought this was not hilarious, but it's the German, like the it's just the law that's there. So the state recommended that none of the parties involved be jailed. Instead, that they recommended that the sentence for the priest should be a fine, and why the prosecution concluded that the parents
should be
exempt
from
punishment, because in German law, in this case, they would have been seen as having suffered enough. It was punishment enough. Their daughter was taken from them, which is a legit thing in German penal law.
I kind of understand that.
Mm-hmm. It's like you have to sit and you have to live your life like this, which is but that's it. Very specific cases.
But I can understand.
They know that they had a hand in their child's death. And
but see, would you not be falling into kind of religious rights in as well? Because I mean, if which one is it? Jewish people or is it? Or no, it's Jehovah's Witnesses who won't take a blood transfusion or anything like that. And if they can turn that down and allow themselves to fucking die, and then you have there's a certain. What's the type of Christians who refuse all medical help? They pray to God when they have a problem. That's it. That's all they do. They just pray. Family Guy did an episode on it, and I'm trying my fucking hardest to think of what they call themselves.
That's kind of scary, though.
But yeah, they basically, when they get sick, there is no medicine, no drugs, no nothing.
Jesus.
They don't drink coffee, they don't drink beer, they don't smoke, they don't do anything. There's nothing like that allowed into their body, and fucking pharmaceuticals is another thing that they will not take. So they could have cancer, and their answer to it is, I will pray to God and he will take my cancer away.
Because it worked for everybody else that did this.
But yeah, so I don't know.
Jesus. Yeah.
But so yeah, I would be wondering, could they have kind of claimed that as well? This is my religious belief. This is what I believed would have helped my daughter. But
no, because she wasn't. She was over the age of consent. Do you know?
But she wasn't in a place to give consent. She's still even if it was a mental health thing, she's still a vulnerable person who's not in her right mind. Like, you know.
It's a very hard one to call.
What do you think? I mean, fucking, there's a lot of like physical stuff there that you'd be like, I don't even think a mentally unwell person could go that far, like, you know?
Well, the father died before, like, he gave any real interview. And then the mother gave an interview in 2004, 2005. And that's actually where the stigmata thing ties in as well. And she said that when she saw that,
and she has
it was a sign from God that she was, I know. But she took it as a sign from God that Jesus was saying that what they did was the right thing.
And to me, again, that would say that like this was a Christian possession as opposed to a demonic possession. Do you know? So I mean, that's the first I've ever heard of. I've never watched the movie, The Possession of Emily Rose. Is it?
The Possession, yeah.
I've never
seen it.
The
Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Dexter's
sister is
sister in the show, wife in real life.
Actually, now I always get mixed up. Yeah, sister in the show, or whichever one you want to say. She plays Emily Rose.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. Yeah. It's an interesting story. I'm definitely curious about it. But fucking, and see, that's it. Like, what do you win? If we were in that case, I think I'd still have to have medical professionals around.
Oh, absolutely. As in, like,
even if they were conflicting and roaring at me saying, for fuck's sake, you know, let us do our job, I'd still be, if they weren't pulling it off, I'd be like, you know, I'll try anything, but I'm not going to stop trying the other thing just because I'm trying this next thing. Like,
oh, yeah.
Especially when the next thing is so
violent.
Not even violent, but not proven.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The medicine is based on scientific work and testing and stuff.
There are case studies and facts and all that jazz, but as in, like, not with, there's, fairy stories. then
And
to
that's
back
what
up
you're kind
these.
of going at. So
Yeah.
you don't know, like, you know. I don't know, but they're interesting. And, I mean, that's a pretty...
Next
cool
week we're
lineup.
going to do, I mean, like in depth. Not, it won't be like a more as in like a load of possessions. It's just going to be The Devil Made Me Do It.
Oh, the Conjuring. I still haven't seen that movie. I might try and watch that movie this week before we get on it, because I don't know what it's about. And I've seen... Is it the third Conjuring? Is that the third one? Or is it the fourth one? I've definitely seen the first two. I can't really remember the Enfield one, because I remember being a bit disappointed with it.
I was a bit disappointed with it, yeah.
And I haven't seen many of their spin-offs. I've seen Annabelle, like the first one, and we didn't like that. But then the rest of them were supposed to be pretty good. That Annabelle story in their book, though, is fucking scary
I found that creepy.
as fuck. When they're going on about it, like these nurses bringing the doll back to their house, and there was the two girl nurses, and there was their male friend living in the house, and the male friend kept having nightmares, that Annabelle was coming for him, and he'd like see it at the end of his bed in his nightmares and stuff like that, and you know, becoming closer and closer with him. But he started waking up with scars. He started waking up with marks. You know, there was times where he'd wake up and the doll was in the room. They got the doll out of the house and dumped it. Came back up the stairs. The doll is in the house again, or later on, the doll is in the house again. Like, you know, it's a fucking cool story. Do you know what I might if you're doing The Devil Made Me Do? Yeah, there's Conjuring 1, 2, and then The Devil Made Me Do It. So that's
do you want to watch The Conjuring in bed later?
Watch one of them. But what was I going to say? If you're doing that, I might have a quick look at that story, the Annabelle story, and then throw that in at the start just for fun.
Cool.
But if I can find that book again. But it's a good book, even if you don't fully believe in the Warrens' shtick. They made some money out of it, though.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, you can go to... I'd still go, if I was in the area, I'd go to the Warren Museum, all right.
Yeah, it'd be one of those ones you'd have to go to. Yeah.
I'd really love to go see Robert the Doll.
I don't think I want to see Robert the Doll. Thank you.
Just be nice to him. That's all you got to do. You just go up and ask his permission to take a picture.
Or else you got to write to him.
Yeah. Robert the Doll is awesome. You should cover him on Creepypasta Crypt someday. It's an interesting story.
I don't know. It's one that I don't find many of them creepy, but that one kind of creeps me out.
Oh, that one scares the shit out of me. He's a terrifying looking little fucker.
I don't find him terrifying looking. It's the actual story itself. Yeah, I suppose I'll do it for
Boy, the look of him with the story.
Fuck it, we'll do it.
Yeah, I think that would be a good one for Creepypasta Crypt. We definitely hold it for later in the year when I got something that relates to crazy scary dolls to talk about. So we'll hold that one for a while.
What's that? Skype me.
Huh? Yeah, okay. That was good. So we'll be back again with part 2 of Possessions next week, when we look at the real story behind The Conjuring's The Devil Made Me Do It. And actually, I'll find that book, because that's in there as well, so I'll read up on it on my side as well and have a look at that. I'm pretty sure I have it on my tablet somewhere.
You do. So, I have it somewhere as well. You sent it to me.
Yeah, so it's in there. That book was, like I said, it's a good one if you want a ghost story book. You know, and I mean, a good ghost story book, you don't necessarily need to believe it.
No.
I mean, some of the best when we were younger were like the Goosebumps series, and none of them are true. I hope. The
best one I ever read was the one with the ribbon around her neck, and then she's like, can't ever take the ribbon off.
You wanted to do that for Creepypasta?
It's very short. It'll take me about like 2 or 3 minutes to say it.
I think it was the guys on last podcast I was listening to them say it, and you kind of brought up the same when you saw it as well. The difference between Creepypasta Crypt and urban legends is, or creepypastas, sorry, and I'm taking creepypastas for ourselves by calling them creepypastas. But the difference between creepypastas and cryptid stories and stuff like that to urban legends are, urban legends were usually made to be short and sweet and to the point, to teach someone a quick lesson, you know, of you shouldn't do this for this reason, and it's a quick kind of story. So that's why you only find short bits and pieces about those kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, we could definitely have a look into them. But so that's Possession Part 1. We will be back next week with Possessions Part 2. We'll also be back with The Exorcist Part 2 on our main feed. And what did I say we were doing in Behind the Mask? I said we were doing for Part 2 because I ran through all the Exorcist movies in Part 1. We look at this week. Next week, sorry. I'm all over the place. Next week, we're going to be looking at cursed movies. So we're going to be going from The Exorcist, which was known to be a cursed movie, and we're going to be looking at
Was
stuff
the
like
Twilight Zone?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that one was fucking bad.
I don't like thinking about that because I didn't think they were going to show that, and I think that we watched it and then they showed it, and I was like, no.
Yeah. The Omen, The Crow. There's a few of them there, but yeah, Twilight Zone was a big one. I was listening to a podcast about that the last day, and apparently the guys who made it was Spielberg and one of his friends that made it, and they only made it to have a bit of fun and to spend time together as friends.
That backfired.
And the movie is the reason they're not friends anymore.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Awful.
So and after Spielberg said like that, because obviously it was the other guy that was directing the scene that went wrong. I'm not going to get into now and spoil for next week, but Spielberg basically said afterwards, he was like, directors need to be held accountable for the hours and time they're forcing the fucking actors and staff to work with, you know?
Definitely.
Because at that stage you're talking about, that's still the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I still feel like the 90s more than any time was like the wild fucking West when it came to entertainment. Anything goes.
Yeah.
We were past the point where we were afraid to go out to show nudity and to curse, and before the point where we had understood how to curse. It felt like the whole fucking universe was just teenagers in the 90s.
Yeah.
Now that might be the feeling for us because we were teenagers just after, like we grew up in the 90s, but it just felt like everyone's attitude was rebellious. And like I said, it was like the first time ever people were publicly allowed to curse, have sex on TV, you know, show their boobies, show their penis. Well, they still weren't allowed to show their penis. That's only a very recent thing.
No, I think you couldn't show an erect penis.
I don't know if you still can. I don't think you still can show an erect penis. Anytime you see a dong on fucking TV, it's hanging.
And hang on, but like, oh my god!
On TV, I assume you can on a movie, but I don't think you can on TV. I think it still has to be.
No, I don't
soft.
think I've seen one on a movie.
I think that's a very specific fucking thing. The penises that are shown on TV have to
unless
be
it's
soft.
for educational purposes, I assume.
I would assume so. And at the same time, they still don't show like vaginas wide open or anything. It's usually just like the front kind of, you know, little line or something. You're not going to see it like spread wide and open. So I think basically they can show male and female genitals as long as they're not in the sexually prepared position. You know?
Sexually prepared.
Hard on one side, open on the other. You know? So.
Yeah.
And with that, see you next week.